Welcome to Orthodox World This Week Orthodox News in Digital Space. I'm your host, Abel Matthew Alex. Let's see the latest updates from the Orthodox world. Ethiopian Synod called emergency meeting on and canonical consecration of bishops. Ethiopian Synod led by Patriarch Abuna Matthias called for an emergency meeting of the Holy Synod on a mass bishop consecration. Press release from the Patriarchate said that an emergency synod meeting was called in Addis Ababa to take the final decision. The Ethiopian Church also requested the government to take legal responsibility considering the damage that can be created through this unlawful act. His Holiness has also called believers to keep church in their prayers more than ever before and to be alert of all such illegal acts. And canonical consecration of around 26 bishops took place at Woliso Belewood, the Nativity of Christ Church Oromo, on the leadership of Abuna Sabarius, Abuna Evustatius, and Abuna Seramarcos. This act against the law of the Church was made without the knowledge of the Holy Synod. The high peacemaking potential of the Russian Church is undermined by the Ukrainian authorities' attempts to destroy the Ukrainian Church, Dirk Chairman at United Nations Security Council. The high peacemaking potential of the Russian Church is undermined by the Ukrainian authorities' attempts to destroy the million-strong Ukrainian Orthodox Church, says Dirk Chairman of the Moscow Patriarchate Metropolitan Anthony. Metropolitan spoke virtually at the meeting of the United Nations Security Council on January 17, 2023, delivering a report on the situation of the Ukrainian Orthodox Church in Ukraine. During his 10 minutes long speech, Metropolitan Anthony stressed that the Russian Orthodox Church believes it is her duty to take part in the defending the rights of believers around the world, both on her own and in cooperation with other local Orthodox churches and other religious organizations. Metropolitan Anthony recounted the contents of the latest decisions of Ukrainian's National Security and Defense Council enforced by President Zelensky's decrees, which intended to introduce a number of measures infringing upon the rights of Orthodox communities in Ukraine. In particular, the Ukrainian leaders have imposed the so-called sanctions on 14 hierarchs of Ukrainian Orthodox Church and deprived a number of Ukrainian Orthodox Church archpastors on their Ukrainian citizenship. The Dutch chairman reminded the United Nations Security Council that the deprivation of Ukrainian citizenship is directly contrary to the Constitution of Ukraine and the international agreements, in particular the 1961 Convention of Reduction of the Statelessness. Metropolitan pointed out that the decision of the imposition of sanctions and on the deprivation of citizenship was made by the narrow group of persons without a legal investigation and an opportunity for protestations and applied to only one religious organization and constitutes a form of mass political repressions. Moreover, what this decision restricts are precisely the constitutional rights and freedoms which the Ukrainian Constitution Article 64 forbids to limit during the martial law or the emergency situation. Having compared the situation of Orthodox Church in Ukraine today with the years of ascetic persecution in the Soviet Union, Metropolitan Anthony spoke about the mass search carried out by the Ukrainian Special Service in diocesan administrations, monasteries, and parishes of the Ukrainian Orthodox Church, and about the bringing of action before the court against clergy under holo pretext. The Dirk chairperson noted that the repression against the Orthodox episcopate in Ukraine have become the culmination of the Ukrainian authorities' persistent policy aimed to make control of the religious life of society, precisely with the aim pursued with the participation of the state apparatus and special services and so-called Orthodox Church of Ukraine has been created, and the Ukrainian authorities' further actions are aimed at forcing the Ukrainian Orthodox Church communities to join the newly created organization. Metropolitan Anthony informed the meeting about an actual legalized mechanism of seizing churches of the canonical Ukrainian Orthodox Church and attempts to state to deprive her on her historical name, and about 7 more bills registered in Supreme Rada with the aim of infringe upon the rights of communities and the faithful of Ukrainian Orthodox Church, to deprive her for churches and to impose an absolute prohibition on her activity in the territory of Ukraine. In conclusion of his message, Metropolitan Anthony called the UN and members of the Security Council to pay attention to the unlawful actions of the Ukrainian state authorities with regard to the largest confession of countries to numerous acts of violation of rights and the faithful, guaranteed by the UN Charter and other international legal documents and declarations. Antiochian Special Convention of Archdiocese of North America nominated candidates for office of Metropolitan. Special Convention of Northern American Antiochian Archdiocese nominated candidates for the office of Metropolitan of New York and all of North America on January 13, 2022. Convention was held in the Dallas, Texas, where hundreds of clergy and laity from across the Antiochian Archdiocese gathered for nominating the new Metropolitan. His Eminence Metropolitan Antonius Patriarchal Vicar presided over the convention with blessings of His Beatitude Patriarch John X of Antioch and the Holy East. Each voting delegate cast one ballot, choosing from among 9 candidates. 3 nominees who were elected by the Special Convention towards the Holy Synod include His Grace Bishop Joab Abdallah, His Grace Bishop Nicholas Uzono, His Eminence Metropolitan Saba Ispan. Holy Synod of Antioch will convene on February 2023 to elect the next Metropolitan of Antiochian Orthodox Christian Archdiocese of Northern America. The synod will be held at Belmont, Lebanon. Metropolitan Anthony of Dirk visited His Beatitude Stephen, Archbishop of Ohrid and Macedonia. His Beatitude Stephen, Archbishop of Ohrid and Macedonia, received Metropolitan Anthony of Dirk Moscow Patriarchate in Spogod at January 11, 2023. The visit and the meeting were held during the visit of high-level representation of the Russian Orthodox Church to Macedonia. Metropolitan Anthony conveyed to His Beatitude Stephen a greeting and best regards from His Holiness Patriarch Kirill, who once again congratulated the Primate of the Orthodox Church of Macedonia, the Archdiocese of Ohrid, on the granting of canonical autocephaly to it. In an atmosphere of love and fraternal mutual understanding, the participants in the meeting exchanged opinions on the current situation in the Orthodox world community, discussed prospects for developing relations between Moscow Patriarch and the Orthodox Church in Macedonia, the Archdiocese of Ohrid, and other topics of mutual concern. Metropolitan Anthony and the delegation also visited shrines and monasteries in Macedonia and also celebrated liturgy with His Beatitude Stephen at Lenosovo Monastery on January 12, 2023. Patriarch Kirill of Moscow and Old Russia made telephone conversation with Archbishop Stephen on Ohrid and Macedonia. His Holiness Patriarch Kirill of Moscow and Old Russia had a telephone conversation with His Beatitude Stephen, Archbishop of Ohrid and Macedonia, on January 12, 2023. His Beatitude Stephen, on behalf of the episcopate, clergy, monastics, and laity of the Orthodox Church of Macedonia, expressed sincere gratitude to the Russian Orthodox Church for its recognition of their canonic autocephaly. His Beatitude Archbishop Stephen also expressed gratitude for the visit made to the Northern Macedonia by a high-ranking delegation of Moscow Patriarch led by the chairman of Dirk, Metropolitan Anthony. The Primate of the Orthodox Church of Macedonia, the Archdiocese of Ohrid, expressed sincere gratitude to His Holiness Patriarch Kirill for his love and attention, and said that he was looking forward to a meeting with him before long. His Holiness Patriarch Kirill of Moscow spoke about the love that the faithful of the Russian Orthodox Church traditionally feel to their Orthodox brothers in Northern Macedonia, and expressed deep satisfaction with the restoration of canonical communion with the local Orthodox churches and its newly found status of autocephaly. His Holiness Kirill assured his intercooler of the Moscow Patriarch's invariable comprehensive support from the Moscow Patriarchate and asked for his prayers for the Russian Orthodox Church in the present difficult times. Patriarch of Constantinople, Archbishop Shahak Masahalian, visited Jerusalem on Hilad. His Beatitude Archbishop Shahak Masahalian, the Armenian Patriarch of Constantinople, visited Jerusalem and the Holy Land from January 17, 2023. His Beatitude's first visit to Jerusalem and Holy Land after his enthronement started with his arrival at Armenian quarter. At Gaffa Gate, his Beatitude was welcomed by Archbishop Savan Gabriana, granted Sacristan of Jerusalem Patriarchate, who led the Patriarch and delegation to St. James Armenian Cathedral. After the service in the cathedral, his Beatitude was led to the Patriarchate, where he was received by his Beatitude Archbishop Nurhan Menogia, the Armenian Patriarch of Jerusalem. The delegation from Orthodox churches in Jerusalem attended the ceremony, which included the Patriarch Virgarar of Jerusalem and Holy Land's Archdiocese, Archbishop Mor Antimus Jakub. On January 18, both patriarchs left Bethlehem. In Bethlehem, they celebrated the liturgy of Nativity and Theophany and was celebrated on 18th and 19th with special liturgy and services. On January 22nd, 2023, both patriarchs also led an Epiphany service at River Jordan, where they also met with the governor of Jericho. Metropolitan Antony of Dirk visited Patriarch John X of Antioch. Patriarch John X of Antioch received Metropolitan Antony of Moscow Patriarch Dirk chairman on January 21st, 2023 at Damascus. The visit and a meeting were held during the working visit of Metropolitan Antony with the Russian delegation. The working visit started on January 20, 2023 with a visit to Lebanon. Later, the delegation traveled to Syria to meet Primate Patriarch John X. At the meeting, His Beatitude Patriarch John expressed his deep gratitude to the Russian Orthodox Church for its help in restoring churches and other church facilities damaged as a result of hostilities in Syria. Metropolitan Antony of Moscow conveyed to the primate of the Antiochian Orthodox Church and fraternal greetings and best wishes from His Holiness Patriarch Kirill of Moscow. The Dirk chairman thanked His Beatitude for his unfailing prayerful support for the Russian Church. In the course of further conversation, the prospects of further development of cooperation between the two churches were discussed. Later, Patriarch and Metropolitan Antony visited the compound of Russian Orthodox Church in Damascus and its Center for Children's Rehabilitation and Prosthetics. Hieromonk Stephan of Dirk Moscow Patriarchate visited the Moscow Ethiopian community. Hieromonk Stephan, Dirk Secretary of Indo-Christian Relations, Moscow Patriarchate, visited the representatives of Ethiopian community on 15th January 2023 as per the invitation from the community at Moscow. The meeting was in a cordial atmosphere in which the participants discussed about the bilateral relations between the Russian Orthodox Church and Ethiopian Orthodox Church. The religious life of Ethiopian Christians living in the capital of Russia was also analyzed in the meeting. Members of the Embassy of Federal Democratic Republic of Ethiopia in the Russian Federation also attended the meeting. Hieromonk Stephan conveyed the blessings of Metropolitan Antony, the chairman of Moscow Patriarch's Department of External Church Relations, to the community. Ethiopian community in Russia is growing in recent years as many of them study at Russian higher education establishments or work in various institutions. Archimandrite Panthrios consecrated as the Bishop of Nairi and Mount Kenya. Patriarch Theodorus II of Alexandria consecrated Archimandrite Panthrios as Bishop of Nairi and Mount Kenya on January 15, 2023 at Holy Patriarchal Monastery of Saint Sava, the Sanctified of Alexandria. The consecration was attended by Metropolitan Isaiah of Damascus and Orion Cyprus and members of the Holy Synod. Bishop Panthrios was elected by the Holy Synod on November 24, 2022. Bishop Panthrios was born in 1985 in Ginugi, Kimiko, Kambio province in Kenya. Catholicos Patriarch Kirikin II of Armenia received Russian State Medal. His Holiness Kirikin II, Supreme Patriarch and Catholicos of all Armenians, received the Russian State Medal awarded by President Vladimir Putin. Medal was received on January 11, 2023 at the ceremony that was held in Holy Echmiadzin, where the medal was handed over by the Russian ambassador of Armenia, Sergei Kopyrian. The Russian State Medal was awarded the Order of Honor for His Holiness Kirikin's great contribution to the development of cultural humanitarian links between Russia and Armenia. The medal was announced in November 2022. That's all for the week. Thank you for watching Orthodoxy Community page. Hope to see you in the next one.